All right, everybody, welcome to Relationship Real Talk. We are so excited to talk to Coach Norvell today. Honestly, I am like such a big fan. I've seen you on the TV. I wasn't at the class, so I didn't meet you in person. So this is my first time meeting you, but I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
No, absolutely. It was a great class when we got to go through it, and obviously it's great to have you guys here to talk a little bit about that experience and just what it meant to me, my wife Maria, and just the staff that we were all able to go through. It was a really great night and a couple of days.
For sure. And before we jump right in, how you doing today? Everything good? It's a good day for you?
Everything's good. We're in a bye week. We've had a couple tough games, here the last few weeks, but really been proud of our team and how they've kind of bounced back and had a good week of work, and we're all pushing towards the next game ahead. But sure. It's good to be able to take a deep breath and been putting in some great work.
And then we also have the boss man himself here, Richard Albertson, with us. How
good
you
to
doing
be here.
Today?
As a lifelong Noel, man, it's like a dream come true. I love it.
Nothing but smiles.
That's right.
So let's jump right in. So what got you into coaching?
Well, I've been playing football since I was 5 years old, and when I was growing up, I just fell in love with the game. I love the sport of it. Just the different aspects of playing football, but I also just love the relationships, and it was so critical for me, to be able to have those the teammate bond and relationships that you build, but also just the relationship with coaches. And sure. That was some of the most impactful people in my lives were my coaches growing up. Men that I was not even blood related to, but really took an invested interest in me, and not just the jersey number of the position I played, but really just being able to help a young man on my journey. And I've known since I was in the 7th grade I wanted to be a coach. And wow. I used to think I just wanted to be a high school coach for the longest period of time, but then when I got into college and I saw that those years, when you left home, and the decisions that you make during that period of your life are going to impact the rest of it. And so being able to kind of be that support for our players, and I've loved every minute of it, and so very grateful for the opportunity.
So what position did you play growing up?
I played really all of them growing up. I started off as a running back, then I went to quarterback, and then my last couple of years as in high school, I knew my body wasn't developing the way of what a quarterback would be, and so I actually moved out to play wide receiver, and I played receiver in college, and started coaching that whenever I got done, and then I've kind of just progressed on.
So you've definitely been a player, so you know about the pressure of playing, but the pressure of coaching, how is that like?
It's really a lot the same. And I mean, as a player, I always wanted to be a perfectionist. I wanted to do things the right way. I always I was a great competitor. I loved, whether it was in practice, whether it was in the games, just the opportunity to go out there and try to be your best. And in this game, there's good days, there's bad, there's highs, there's lows. Victories and defeats. And when you get into coaching, now it's also about somebody else, and you don't get to go and actually have the physical, opportunity, but you get to help prepare somebody for theirs. And there's great pressure in all, because I do believe that competitors, that driving force of going and being the best that you can possibly be, and to be able to live with the result of that, that's what makes this game so special. And you're not in control of what other people do, but you are in control of you. And so being able to help young men on that journey, that's what I love about coaching.
And just a quick follow-up question. So you talked about how there was a huge impact on you from your coaches. Can you talk a little bit about the impact you've seen in your players since being here? What's kind of impact have you seen?
They understand the family that we're trying to create, and everybody has their own unique journey, and the backgrounds, all the expectations, the pressures, everything that goes into being a collegiate, student athlete. But when they come here, we're all here for a common purpose and a common cause. And as a coach, it's my job, especially as a head coach, to try to be the example of what I want this program to be, and investing in others, service, sacrifice, and respect are the core values of what we try to live every day. And being able to see young men, no matter where they are, no matter what they come from, when they have that progression in their experience here, and then they are able to do it with like-minded individuals, just those relationships that come together. And, I think that shows up in the way that we play. I mean, the heart that these guys have, the determination, the spirit, that's what I love. And it's not just on the field, it's how they're living their lives off the field. We've seen such great steps, with our guys academically, socially, the impact within the community. I mean, it's really an all-inclusive, approach to being able to go out there and play the best that we can. And we're all continuing to progress on that ultimate, journey and desire of where we want this program to go.
Yeah, and I think it's a huge testament to you. I think I heard, a couple of years ago this past weekend, FSU would have given up. We would have gone blown out, but FSU fought.
They never gave up.
Never gave up this past game. I mean, even at losing, I was like, I am so proud to be a Knoll because of the way that we fought in that game.
Well, I mean, I think your true core identity of who you are, it doesn't, if things are always rosy and they're always good and it's 70 degrees and sunny, I mean, it's good to have a good attitude, right?
Yeah,
well, maybe when things don't go the way that you expect them to go, or if there's a challenge or a speed bump or something that happens, how you respond in those moments, that shows the true character. And, that's where, our guys, they do believe in what we're doing. They believe in themselves. They believe in the opportunities that we have. And, we just have to continue to get better, at the overall execution and the way that we're able to do that for a 60-minute period of time, players, coaches, everybody involved. But you see the belief, you see the heart, you see the character, and it's really a fun group to coach.
So how do you reel players back in? I mean, everybody can say, oh yeah, just be calm, handle the pressure, but we're human. It gets tough. So how do you reel players back in that moment?
Well, it's all about the focus and the objective. Our objective here is to be the best version of us each day, and then to continue to work to get better. You can, I tell players all the time, hard work does not guarantee success, right? And you can work your tails off, and there's going to be times that you still come up short from what you ultimately desire, but it does put you in the best position. And so if we focus on the things that we can control, being the best of ourselves and how we prepare and the work that we put in, and how we operate with each other, then you can go out there and you can put your best foot forward. And if you do come up short, well, then you will learn from the experience and go get better. And so every day our objective is to improve, to get better, and then to continue to push to give all that we have ultimately for what we want.
And that's really all you can ask for. I like it.
So many things come back to leadership too. John Maxwell says it all boils down to leadership. And so I just really respect your leadership of the way you've led these young men in this program. And I think about that. There's a lot of leaders that don't do so well at home. They're great leaders over here in some ways, but at home, those are related and they're connected. And yet so many people will talk about it and, we'll talk about the family atmosphere we have and all that, but you actually did something about it. And I really respect that. You brought us in to do a marriage program. So talk a little bit about the leadership factor, and what are some of your principles of leadership, not only on the field, but at home? Because there's pressure at home too. When you've got the whole world looking at you, there's pressure on the
literally
field,
the whole world.
And that's something that, as we talk to our players, we tell them, how you do anything will be how you do everything.
That's right.
And it is something that we harp on. What we want them to do in the classroom, what we want them to do in the community, what we want them to do on the field, what's the same for us, right? As I lead a family. I also lead a football team, and ultimately, I'm still a work in progress, and I've been through times in my life where maybe I haven't had the right balance of what I was doing. As we look at the profession of coaching, I mean, we spend so much time, whether you're on the road recruiting, whether you're at practice, pouring into so many kids and to so many other things that are not our own family, that you still have to make the investment, and you still got to understand the priority of what we're trying to build at home, and how that's going to help carry over to being the best man, and the best family that we can be for these kids and what they need to see. So each year, I try to do something with my coaches, with either coaches or their families, to continue to make that investment, to provide opportunities. There's no, and I don't. Very few coaches will take time when they have downtime to go do something to really help themselves or their families. And it's just because time it's so precious, and whether it's vacation or so, I wanted to try to do something where we had a little bit of time to be able to bring this incredible resource of investing in the family, investing into a husband, wife. We actually had a couple of about to be married, your families there now that are now married. For them to be able to really have a chance to grow and to connect and to be able to get a different perspective. And if I can help provide that opportunity, it eliminates a lot of the other excuses of why not to. And so it was really something that I thought was just a great thing for our football families and the families that were able to take advantage of that was really a special experience.
And it sends a strong message to them that you really do care about their marriage too, that not just their performance on the field, but they as people, you care about them as people. And that's something that most people don't know about because you got the public face and then, but I'm seeing this stuff go on behind the scenes. And to me, that's really impressive. So I appreciate that. So when you did Adventure to Marriage, were there any aha moments for you, or were there any takeaways? Did your wife say we got you straightened out? Is she still? That's still a work in progress. She's still trying to get my phone. Hey, what's that guy's number? How do I get a hold of him? Do you have any takeaways that were helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I thought just the organizational approach and kind of the guidelines of, these are ways to connect because it's still all about connection.
Right.
And it's about taking time to be able to meet each other as a husband and a wife at each other's needs. And, we all have feelings. We're all going to have good days. We're going to have bad days. But, I love the guidance and just kind of that path of when you don't know, when things are maybe, you don't know where to start. Well, here's a beginning, and here's a couple of connecting pieces where it could just spark a conversation of really coming together and showing the importance of each other. And it doesn't mean you're always going to agree on anything, but whenever you are here, the perspective, and you're able to connect, and you're able to just see things from each other's point of view in those moments. I thought it was really well laid out, and it was simple steps to be able to get to a connected piece. And it's something that I appreciated. And just like anything, when you take time to be able to come together, you just show the importance. And it's an affirmation of that, yes, we've got a lot of things going on in the world, but you're important. You're important in this moment, and it's important beyond this that we'll continue to grow in our relationship. And these were some easy steps to be able to do that.
Well, good. One of my life maxims is whatever you focus on expands. And you had a quote that you say that I thought was interesting. I wrote it down. It's all about the work you put in. Just the same kind of thing as saying is if you focus on something, it gets better. You've been focused on things here at FSU, and it's getting better. And whatever, I just think it's kind of like the same thing. So what is it that you focus on for the family? What's the guidance that you want to give to other coaches that might be listening to this? What do they need to focus on when it comes to their family and their marriage?
I really just think being intentional. And it is when you're intentional in your marriage, and there's so many things that are going on, and in the coaching world, especially during the season, I mean every minute is taken up with something.
I can imagine.
But what can we do to be able to still be intentional about our marriage? And we try to do things like Sunday nights are family nights, and we're going to have our wives, our kids. Families come up. They come up to the last part of practice. We'll have dinner with them. I mean, it shows the families that you're not. I'm not a coach, and you're just my family. No, we are in this together. You are a part of this, and I've got an 8-year-old daughter, and I never want her to resent what I do, and I want her to be a part of it. And there's going to be times there's plenty of times where I'm not at home when she's going to bed. But if my wife Maria, if she can sit there and say, well, he's there helping this player or that player, and she has a relationship and a connection to them, then she's a part of it with them. And she can. It's not. It doesn't make it okay that I'm not home, but she understands that we're in this for a bigger purpose than just going out there and coaching games on a Saturday night. And, and then, one of the things we'll do on Wednesdays, and, today being Wednesday, it was actually, we did today, but we have Wife Walk Wednesday. And so right when practice is over with, Maria comes up and, and whatever coaches' wives are available. I mean, I encourage them, hey, go take a walk. And so we take a 20, 30-minute walk and have lunch together. And it's just, but it's intentional with the time. that we have throughout the course of the week, and trying to provide some direction to that that time that we do get together to connect. And sometimes after a practice, I'm not always in the best mood, but that will bring it still. Even with that, it still brings me back to being balanced. Right. Well, hey, let's just talk to me about what's going on with you. And it's sometimes maybe my issues aren't quite as challenging, as some of the things that she has to juggle whenever I'm gone and doing what I do all the time. So it's long story short, off of the answer is, it's just being intentional to what is important. If you say family is important to you, well, what are we doing to make sure that that's showing up throughout the course of the week with all the other things that are trying to pull at our time.
And that all goes back to leadership, which is so important. And there's so many leaders in our culture. All you got to do is look at the news and see the papers, and so many people fail. So from your perspective, why is it you think that so many of our leaders fail? Not just necessarily at home, but just what is that? I don't know if you sense the same thing, but even people in ministry and people in business and politics and all of it, such a lack of leadership. So when I see a good leader, I just want to say, great job, man. We need more like you. But what from your perspective, what is it you think? What are some of the things that our leaders fail? What are we missing?
I really don't think that it's intentional. I think life's hard. I think that it is, and it is, nobody goes into something, and you get married, you don't sit there and say, well, I hope this lasts for just a little while. Everybody wants to be successful in something when you're taking a step in your life, but then life happens. And there's distractions. There's things that are there to try to pull your attention one place or the other. You maybe miss out on the importance of staying connected. And and in reality, the work that we'll put in. There's coaches clinics. So you talk to other coaches. You do a lot of things in this profession to always continue to grow. We watch so many hours, endless hours of film, watching opponents, watching other people. But are we investing in that type of work into our marriage? Are you taking the time to go and have to be a part of a marriage seminar? Hey, here are some tools. Here are some resources. Here's some things that can help you on this journey. And then are you willing to apply it? Because, that's where, if you don't work towards it, like we just got done, then you're going to fail it no matter what you do. So it's not like, to be a great leader, it's everybody experiences challenges, but whenever you say something is important, then you're going to stay focused on the things that you need to do to build it up. And if you are consistent in it, if you're willing to pour your heart into it, if you're willing to have the good days and the bad days, but stay committed to continue to grow, right? Then you're going to work yourself through all the issues. In today's age, you're going to have hard days no matter how hard you work at it, right? But whenever you truly are committed to it, then you're going to be able to overcome those moments, right? But if you don't have the foundation, if you're not willing to set that, if you're not willing to build and grow in those tools, then when the hard days happen, that's where you see things falling apart. And I do not believe that that's intentional with anybody, but it's just, it's life is hard, and you got to make a choice of what you want it to be. And I've been a part of those challenging days and those challenges where maybe I didn't choose the right thing in the moment, but you sit there and you reflect and you say, well, what can I do to be better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better leader? Well, then are you willing to do the steps of what it takes to achieve that? And that's where we're all a continued work of progress.
Not being afraid to fail. Really, I think that's the biggest thing. Like you said, you have to make that conscious decision to keep going. If you set a goal, you don't meet the goal, okay, are you gonna give up then or keep going? So that's when I love when you were saying intent. That's the most important thing.
Well, and because in all reality, you are going to face the adversity of life, and but if it is truly important to you, and if you're willing to give everything, and that's where it's like I tell our players all the time, I can live with whatever the outcome is. If I know that we've given our all, if we prepared to the best of our ability, if we poured everything we had, and you know what, if you come up short, well, then you'll learn a lesson.
Yes.
Right. But if you hold back and you only give 50%, you only give 75%, and you get your butt beat, well, you haven't learned anything. You just learned that you weren't willing to give everything to what it takes to be able to achieve success. So I mean, if you're willing to pour it all in, you'll still experience a bad day,
For sure.
but you'll be able to learn from that and apply it, helping yourself move forward.
Yeah. We talk about we've already paid a lot of our stupid taxes at Live a Life, and we just want to make new mistakes. We want to learn from those mistakes. Let's go make some new mistakes, and we want to take some of those risks and not pay any more of those stupid taxes. So, yeah.
Well, and I really appreciate your time. And I agree with Alfonso. I've heard you say multiple times, intentionality, being intentional. And I think that is just such a beautiful thing, even on the field with your family. And just, I mean, literally thinking of questions like, it is so amazing how well coaching and like the teamwork of that and marriage, they line up so beautifully. Because, if you showed up the first day of the season, you're like, guys, this is our game plan, and you leave, how are you? I mean, and that's what a lot of people do when they get married. They're like, we did this thing and I don't have to really be intentional anymore. Yeah, checked off, we're good. So having that check-in, even during a game, you leave the field, you go, you have that talk, you say, guys, these are the things that we need to work on. And then you go back into the game. So all of these things with families, and we have successes and losses, and even through the losses, just encouraging and being there for each other. So final word, what are the things that you want to encourage maybe other coaches or even your players with in that intentionality, or just how to move forward?
I think that as a coach, you have the greatest responsibility we have is to be an example. Because, as a, and I could say this as a player, I remember looking to my coaches, and it's one thing to hear what they say, but it's another thing to see what they do.
Amen.
And that's where, if you can see the actions in the example, when somebody cares. Yep. And I can tell my wife that I love her every single day, but if she doesn't see the actions, and that's not our reality. And so it's about being the example for what you want, being the example for what is important to you, and then being willing to invest in that. And as a coach, it's the greatest profession in the world. I love doing what I get to do. But it's also one of the greatest responsibilities, because as a coach, as a teacher, as a leader, you have people's lives that are in your hands, and that's the same when it comes to your family. And so if it is truly a priority to help people be successful, then you've got to be willing to step up and step out and go do the things that can kind of help point them in a direction that will not guarantee success, but help kind of put them on the best path to achieve that as they're moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much, not as just the FSU coach, but just being a man of integrity. Yes. And that above all else is just something that we really appreciate. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate the time, and it was a wonderful opportunity for me, my wife, and our coaches' families, just to be able to go through that and to get those tools and to have those resources, and something that, whether it's a week after, a year after, you still can always point back and say, maybe we're not in the exact spot where we want to be. Let's get back to the foundation, and let's go through and be willing to make that investment. And it's really been very beneficial, and I just appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate appreciation.
Exactly. We're going down the whole list.
As busy as you are with all that's going on, to be a part of this. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right.
And there you have it. See you next week.
All right.
Remember, we are now offering free classes in Florida through our Healthy Marriage Initiative grant. If you are interested, check out livethelife.org/aim. If you are military and you are interested in learning more about this program, you can reach out to us by emailing ashley@livethelife.org. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you feel educated, encouraged, and empowered to thrive in whatever relationship you're in.